From the weather team you can trust, here's Chief Meteorologist Eric Sneidel.
On a day that felt so warm and humid, it's remarkable that Rochester only made it into the low 80s. That was it. It never felt like low 80s, though. With all of that humidity, dew points in the 70s through the better part of our day, it felt more like mid-80s, and I'm thinking tomorrow could be mid-90s at times in parts of the area. So believe it or not, today is almost like a relief compared to where things are going to be going. That's our first pit stop, by the way. Where are things going? Let's talk dew points out of this. The dew point, measure of moisture at the surface. It's what makes it feel sticky or not so sticky. And these figures, Thursday into Friday, are very sticky. No matter where you are, even if you're in the deep south, the dew point in the low 70s, you feel it. That's a tropical air mass. But note where the trajectory goes here. We fall into the 60s into the weekend, much lower going into next week. Now, we've got a complete pattern change waiting on us going into next week. Much more cool and refreshing air mass is on the way. We just have to get through these next 48 hours before we are able to pull that off. Regardless of what you see on Future View here, understand that in this kind of setup, this kind of atmosphere, you could pop up a shower or storm at most any point. It does not take much to do that. Still, though, most of our action will favor late morning into the afternoon where the instability will be at its highest, and anything that does fire in this air mass could be strong with some gusty winds and small hail. Shy of that, if you avoid the rain entirely, and let's say you avoid the cloud cover entirely, you could actually do close to 90 degrees for a high tomorrow afternoon, regardless of what you see on this map with just that 85. Friday is probably going to be similar. We're going to have a boundary come through. Now, the Storm Prediction Center has us pegged on Friday for a risk for severe weather. And on paper, I understand that. That makes sense. My question, though, is into Friday afternoon when these storms do get going, is the boundary already past us by the time the afternoon gets here? That's what we're rooting for. A faster arrival of this allows the initialization of all of those strong storms to be more of an issue from Syracuse toward Binghamton. We pull that off, we're going to have a relatively dry day before we transition into the weekend. A lot of folks are going to be out here tomorrow to be able to see the Union Pacific big boy. Letchworth is the big one. Passage still scheduled for about 12:20. There could be some rain around. If there's not, it will be very hot and humid. And many of you at Letchworth, you're going to have to get there early, which means you're standing out there in the sun sweating, so make sure you're hydrated and you're wearing appropriate clothing out of that. It'll do Hornell from 2 p.m. to 2:30. If it makes you feel any better, it's not just us that's sweltering out of this. Most of the eastern half to third of the United States, they're dealing with heat-related headlines just like we are. Areas that are splashed in red are going to be the ones most likely to have that heat index get closer to that 95-degree mark. Even if you're not in red, we're talking north of 90-degree heat index values anyway through the better part of that day. Into the weekend, Saturday looks fantastic. I will make a mention here. I doubled our rain chance on Sunday. I've taken it up to 60%. That looks like the cold front day. That will then eventually take us into that relatively cooler weather going into next week. For now, we see a series of days with highs in the 70s, lows in the 50s, and maybe a couple of those that could be even cooler than that.